All right, is everybody ready? Everybody got their whiteboard? Cool. All right, I'm gonna do something real quick and I want you guys to tell me if you still see my screen, okay? Can you guys see this? It says the water cycle. Can y'all all see that? Everybody good? Okay, cool. So before we start looking at this PowerPoint, I'm gonna ask you some questions as we go. So I want you guys to make sure you got your whiteboards ready because I want to probably blow your mind today a little bit. Now, I do want to stress to you that your science assignment is not posted yet, okay? When I am done with this video, I am going to upload the video and give you guys some questions on Edpuzzle, and then you can start. So once I'm completed with my my lesson today, you guys can go ahead and you can go do your reading and do your math, and then you can go check the science because it'll take me probably about 20 minutes to get it up after I'm completed, okay? Does everybody understand? All right. Now this is what I want you to do first, okay? And I'm sure most of you already know these answers. What are three? Just write down three, and I don't want you to put down your mom or your dad or video games or anything like that. What are the three things you think you could probably not live without? Write those down, and don't put video games, don't put, your bed or, your favorite stuffed animal. I'm talking about real life things that you have to have in order to survive, okay? Write those down for me. I just want to see what some of you write down. And look, there are no right or wrong answers, guys.
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
is this correct?
I don't know. We're gonna show them in just a second. I don't even see who you're showing. Hold on.
Oh.
Hold on one
You
second.
just want me to read? You just want me to read what mine says?
No, I'm gonna hold these up and you guys can kind of gauge what you have, okay? So has everybody got three things written down? You don't have to go crazy. If you can only think of two, that's all right. So these are my three, all right? And I don't know if you guys can see those or not. Oxygen, food, and water. Would we be able to do much without oxygen? How long do you think we'd last without being able to breathe? Look at you. Look at you, Yasmin. So these are my three. If you put down something different like sunshine's really important. We can't live without the sun. That's one of the big ones. Trees is a great one, Evan. I can see some of y'all. Make sure you write a little bigger next time and try to hold it up close, kind of like I am to your camera. All right. So listen, I wasn't gonna say right or wrong for any of those, but obviously you don't want to live without your mom or you're living in your house or your video games. That's fun stuff, right? But those things that you cannot live without are going to be food, water, the sunshine, your shelter. Those are really, really important things. So let me ask you a question. This water right here I have in this Starbucks cup, do you think that this water is infinite? Do you think that fresh water is just everywhere and we can always have it and we're never going to run out of it? Raise your hand if you think that's true. You think that's true? Raise your hand. So you guys think that fresh water is going to happen forever? Okay, actually, this is a really, really rare thing we have right here, and we're going to talk about how we get it. Okay, but I'm going to ask you some questions before we do. Okay, so you guys hang on. Now, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead. I've got two mice sitting here, people, so this is a little bit confusing. So just bear with me. Now, right here, does everybody see that map? What is that a map of?
It's the map of our world.
It's the map of our world. It's just flat and it's not in a circular. So the earth is not flat. The earth is round, or they just flattened it out. Now, listen, I want you to get your whiteboards out, okay? And I want you to write down what percentage of this map is covered with water. How much of this map is covered with water? Just write down any number. Don't say it out loud because you're going to ruin it for everybody else. Just write down a percentage. So, you know, whatever you think. All right. So it can be a roundabout number. You can get an exact number. It's probably a little bit different in everybody's opinion. Okay. So out of all these areas, how much of this world is covered in water? 50%, 90%, 90%. Wow, a lot of 90%ers out there. So this is probably more or less the correct answer. 70 to 75% of this earth is water. Okay, most of it is water. We got very little land, and obviously on the land we have lakes and stuff like that, okay? Now, this is what I want you to write down. How much of this water, how much of it, out of all the water on earth, okay, and that's every body of water you can think of, lakes, rivers, streams, oceans, how much of it can we drink? What percentage of it can we drink, okay? Write down what you think. It can be any number you want, okay? Just think about it. Wow, 30%, 20%, 5%, that's good. What's yours, Aiden? What is that? I can't read that, bud.
1%.
1%, okay, good enough. All right, does everybody got an answer up? 50, 25%, 10%. All right, great, man. Y'all are doing an awesome job. Now, this is gonna blow your mind, but would you believe that only 2% of all the water on Earth is drinkable? The other 98% of water is not drinkable. And do you wanna know why? What's in that other 98% of water? And you guys better get this correct because you live at the beach. What is that other 98% of water? What does it have in it that you cannot drink or you will get extremely sick? Hold up your answers if you can. All right, good. This is what you should have had. Salt. And you guys that live at the beach and you've lived here a while and you've gone to the ocean, you know that when you get salt water in your mouth, it makes you start coughing and you can't drink it. Okay? So can we drink salt water? No. All right, so we're not going to be talking about salt water when we talk about the water cycle. Okay? Now, out of this 2% of all the fresh water on Earth, this water right here I have in my cup has been reused over and over and over again. Think about your greatest hero, all right? My greatest hero is Kevin Murphy, Mr. Murphy, the 5th grade teacher. He's my hero, and I guarantee you that Mr. Murphy might have drank some of this water before. George Washington could have drank this very water in my cup. A dinosaur could have drank this water, because all of it has to be recycled. All right, so out of this 2%, we can only drink 1% of it. And I'm going to show you where the other 1% is right now. Now these right here, that's human body. Now these right here, can y'all see my screen? This is where the other 1% of this 2% is. So we can drink 1% of this 2%. The other 1% is stuck in ice. Okay, does anybody, can you write down for me what this is right here? What is this called? Does anybody know? I'd give you a gold sticker if I had any. Does anybody know what these are called? Write it down if you do. What do you think? Yeah, right on, Aiden. It is ice for sure, but what do we call these huge chunks of ice? What do we call them? Does anybody know? Snow's close, Alana. You're real close. Not quite. Mountains? Well, you need a mountain to make a glacier almost. This is what they're called. Icicles, icebergs. Who's that with iceberg written down? I see you. Good job. They're actually called glaciers, okay? And these glaciers are huge, huge sheets of ice, okay? So that's one picture I've got of one. And you can see the mountains are right here, and this is a huge sheet of ice. Let's look at another picture of a glacier. Here's another big one. So you can see it coming down the mountain, and that's what a glacier looks like. I got a couple more pictures. This is impressive. So y'all see that big wall, and then that huge sheet of ice? Somebody wrote it down, but what comes off of these glaciers that are so dangerous and that sunk the Titanic? It sunk the Titanic. What was it? What are these things called when they come down here and they fall in the water? What do they turn into? Somebody had it written down. And you better know what sunk the Titanic. It was a iceberg, right? So that's where icebergs come from. They don't just happen out of the ocean. They come off of gigantic glaciers, and they are all fresh water. All of this is fresh water, okay?
Mr. Allen.
Yes.
So, I had watched a movie before with the Titanic in it. So, like as a fake Titanic. So are icebergs stuck? Like, are they big where they're stuck to the bottom of where they're at, or like?
No, the biggest part's on the bottom, and the small part sticks up. So when you look at an iceberg, you're looking at about 10% of the iceberg. The other 90% is down below the water. So the people that were captaining the Titanic did not see the iceberg. They didn't know how big it was. But they are immense. They're immense sheets of ice. Okay, let's keep going, guys. All right. Now, these are the words that you're going to be learning in the next week. And I'm going to try to explain this to you. They're all 6. They all are going to be sort of tough, especially these first 2. Evaporation and condensation are extremely difficult to learn because you have to learn why water evaporates off the earth. Now, we talked about yesterday, what was one of the most important things that we have shining down on us all day long? What is
Sunlight.
it? The sun. And you guys should have remembered that. I'm going to talk a lot about the sun because the sun is vital to our life. We've got to have it for warmth. We've got to have it for light. It makes our trees grow. It makes the water cycle. Do what?
The sun is very important to us.
Absolutely. If it weren't for the sun, we would never have any wind, and we would not ever be able to drink water because the water cycle wouldn't work without the sun, and you're going to learn that in the next few days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop talking, okay? And I'm going to kind of end the lesson because I don't want to give you too much today. I know 10, 15 minutes is probably about all we want to deal with right now until we get more into school. So I'm going to take this lesson that I just talked about and I'm going to upload it to my science stream, okay? Right there where your assignments are. And you can click on it and you can watch it again. All right, and then you can answer the questions afterwards. And I'm going to ask you all the questions that I just asked you, okay? And the reason I asked you these certain questions is because I want you guys to understand that we don't have a ton of fresh water. All the fresh water on earth that you even drink today, someone else has already drank it before you. But don't get kind of creeped out about it because it goes through a process and it gets cleaned. You're not drinking dirty water. You're drinking clean, filtered water from nature. So don't get all freaked out if you think that you're drinking, dog throw up with your water. You're not. It does get picked up by the water cycle and get filtered, and that's what you're drinking. That's pretty cool, right? Did any of you guys know all this stuff before I told you? Oh, Aiden, did you really? You did know something. Well,
I
cool.
didn't know this.
I hope some of you guys learned a little bit today, and I promise you, if you guys stick with us, you're going to learn a whole lot because I got a lot to say about the water cycle. It's going to be a little bit confusing at first. The first two things I talk about, the evaporation and condensation, are the hardest ones. But I always like to start on that one because if you can learn those two, then the rest of it's super duper easy. Okay? So are there any questions for me? If you got any questions, raise your hand. And I'll be glad to call on you. All right, so listen. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end the video and I'm gonna end this Zoom and then I'm gonna go and upload my stuff. And then you can get started on your science assignment, okay? Does that sound good? I appreciate you guys listening. And I think Miss Moore's doing her math tomorrow and then Mr. Murphy on Thursday. And then on Friday, we're gonna start talking about these first two top ones, okay? The evaporation and the condensation. And it's gonna throw you for a loop a little bit because I know in previous grades, you've kind of just learned evaporation, condensation, precipitation. Well, in 5th grade, you gotta learn a little bit more. You've gotta learn why these things happen. Why does evaporation happen? What causes water to go through condensation to make clouds? Those are things that we've gotta learn. And it all has to do with the sun and it has to do with hot and cold air. And it's really cool. So I hope everybody has a good day. And if you need me, you guys can just give me an email or give me a Google message and I'll be glad to try to get to you, okay? Everybody good to go? All right, give me like 10 minutes, guys, and I'll have the science up, okay? Hope you guys have a good day. Bye, guys.
Guys.
That's 17 minutes.